Hello and welcome to another episode of Motors for the Masses, and this week we're moving with the times. Yes, we're going electric. So roll the intro and let's get cracking.
Crack!
I've been a real bad boy on the town all night. Starting to calm down with the morning light down in the dirt.
So with Christmas just around the corner, it's time to break out the fun stuff. First of all, we have to unbox it. Everyone likes a good unboxing. So let's do that. Okay, let's break it
Oh
open.
my word. What are you doing? You use a knife like any normal person.
There's nothing wrong with this. Oh, I'll tell you what, you do that one, I'll do this one. Let's see who gets through first. And go. Ha ha! I win. See? Hacksaw. Beats a blade any day. My job here is done. All right, okay, so what do we have? Well, we've got an electric pit bike and an electric quad. Do you want to do that again without walking in front of the camera?
Sorry.
So, we have an electric pit bike and an electric quad bike. Yes, I want to try that quad bike.
Quad bike? That could be fun.
Absolutely.
If it was a little bit larger, maybe.
No, it's fine. Right, so first things to do is to obviously unbox it and take it out. Now, when they arrive in a box almost complete, but not quite. So we're going to lift this out and see what we've got. Best thing about them is they're not very heavy. Now, you'll notice that the wheel is very low. We'll come back in for a closer look in a minute. So you can see, when it arrives, the suspension is not attached. The front wheel, the front mudguard and the handlebars are not attached, and the brake caliper is the wrong way round. So, first thing to do is to make sure the suspension is attached. Now, when I say it's not attached, you can lift the back up and you can see the spring is not attached at all. So, let's see what else we've got in the box. So in here you get a box of goodies, a wheel, and also in that pack is the front mudguard. All right, Jamie, please explain to the ladies and gentlemen, what's the first port of call?
So the first thing we'll do is put the bars on. The reason being is then we can actually manhandle the front of the bike.
Yep.
Put the front wheel in, rear shock on, and it's basically pretty much together.
Right,
For that.
okay.
Yeah.
So, handlebars. Now, the handlebars come attached with all the wiring already in, but obviously you've just got to stick them on. Now, in this pack, you get the top of the yoke support bolt housing mechanism.
Handlebar clamps, yeah.
Them. And the bolts to go in. Now, they're M8 by 20s, I believe.
4 clamp bolts, just what we need.
Brilliant. So now with all handlebars, they come with little grooves on to show you pretty much where they line up. And those grooves go against these grooves to grip, so the handlebars don't move around when your little child yanks on them. Now you will need some Allen keys. You do get them with the pack. You do get Allen keys in the pack. However, traditionally, Allen keys are very similar to the Allen keys you get with wardrobes. They're pretty weak and pretty cheap. So we're going to use proper T-bar Allen keys, thingies.
And what you want to do with this as well is when you put these clamps down is do them nice and even. Otherwise you could snap them. So
Yeah.
just make sure the gap on the front and the back is basically the same as you tighten it down.
Ah, now, there is something else which we've missed. These bolt onto here.
Oh, okay. Not go through into the middle.
No, I thought they went through the middle, but they don't. Looking at the picture,
top.
they go on top. So I thought they'd go in the middle there, but they don't. Oh,
Oh, nice.
that was a nice one.
For you, not for me.
Yeah. Oh, we're good. That smells of daisies and stuff. Time for tea.
Okay, so now I've tightened them down. You just got to be careful you don't over tighten them, otherwise they could shear or break the actual clamps. All right, so they need to be tight but not overly tight.
So how would you measure that?
It's just as much force as really you want to put on. You know,
Yeah.
you can easily over tighten them and snap these.
If you're starting to go, it's too tight.
Yeah, I mean, like here, I could easily turn that with not much force, put a bit more on.
Yeah.
That's where you basically want to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of nip them up, yeah?
Okay. So the next job is the front wheel. Now, to do that, you have to take the front brake caliper off, and that's just held in with one bolt down there, and then take it off out of the way. Right, now the front wheel comes with a couple of spacers and the front wheel spindle bolt. So it's a good idea to grease this up. You don't have to use all that anti-slip silvery rubbish, because that gets everywhere and it's a nuisance. So you can just put a bit of grease on it just to grease it up. Again, with this kind of bike, it's not really necessary because it's an electric bike. It only does 17, 18 miles an hour. So what we'll do is stick this on. One goes either side of here, in there, between the front fork and the wheel itself. So let's get that on now. And then, of course, we've got the bolt on the other side. We are going to grease the bolt.
So I've got a spindle. I'll just put a bit of grease over it. I mean, this is mainly just to stop it from seizing the bearings. Okay.
Right, so the spindle goes through, and then you put on the little spacer.
You lift it up a little bit. Thank you.
And then the other spacer.
On the other side.
And then through the other fork, and then this nut here goes on.
Okay, thank you.
So we've got a 13mm on one side and a 17mm nut on the other. That's 12.
14, mate.
Is it? Oh, right. So you've got a 14 on one side and a 17 on the other. Sorry.
Yeah, well done.
Now again, this doesn't have to be really, really tight. You don't necessarily have to torque these up. They've just got to be tight so they don't come undone. And then comes the brake. I'm going to spin this round and show you the other side. Now, as you can imagine, it looks a bit low. Well, that's because the rear shock isn't in yet. It's going to sit about there. So, that's the next thing to do. Now, the rear shock is quite simple. It just basically goes between the two bracket, or the two little brackets on there, stick the bolt through, whack the nut on the other side. It's that simple. So once that's tightened up, it's just a matter of fixing the mudguard and the front number plate. And here's one we made earlier. Now when it comes to the mudguard, it's a really simple fix. Basically, you've got two bolts that go underneath up there. Can you see it up there? No, 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 no. Oh, there they are, look, two bolts. They screw into the bottom of the yoke. And then the two little prongs on here is what this sits down into, and then that just bolts on the front. So what we're going to do now is stick it on charge, although, to be honest, they pretty much come with a full charge already. And it's easy to charge it. It's just this little 3-pin thing on here. You get a little cap on it, you just unscrew that, plug the charger in, stick it in the wall, and away you go. Now, we're going to stick that on charge and build the quad, and then we're going to see how fast they go with adults on them. That'll be fun. Now, once it's all together, like so, you then need to plug it in, because otherwise it isn't going to work. Now, that is done by a plug under here and a socket in there, like so. Now, key-wise, you get two sets of keys. One to go in here, which are these, and then the main keys up there on the dash. I say dash, key slot. and then you need to double check that it works. So was that turned on and that key turned on? You've got, look, an indicator on there with an on-off button down here. So we're going to test this briefly.
Press it once, and now drive.
So it's a bit confusing because pushed in is off, out is on. That's off, that's on. Okay, now that is the slowest setting. That is on number 2. So then you put it on number 1, and that's the medium setting. Was that number 1?
This is slow, number 2.
Oh, that's why I just said number 2.
You was on number 1.
Unbelievable. Right.
Start again, number 2.
Number 2 is the slowest setting. And then number 1 is the second slowest setting. And then 0 is the fastest. Woo! Right. Unbox that quad, which is weirdly known as the STOMP AC/DC. Even that logo looks suspicious. Right, yes, now this is the STOMP wired pit bike. I love that. You can get other pit bikes, but STOMP are a really good quality. Really do like them. Okay, so inside this box is a crate. And inside the crate is a quad bike. Oh, yes. Now, of course, you've got the seat, little separate thing, and of course you have to take it out of the cage. The first thing we have to do is unbolt the cage.
Welded on these two for some reason.
Oh, okay, so those two are welded, and this one isn't. Ah, I see, they've tried to confuse us with science and stuff.
See what we've got.
So these don't come with lots of stuff attached. The wheels are disconnected, the handlebars are disconnected, and the front suspension and the shocks are also disconnected, so you have to put all them together. So the first thing we're going to do is stick the handlebars on so we can maneuver it, just like with the other one. Now again, you do get a box of goodies with this. You've got the clamps that are in this box, and of course the charger and a little pad for the handlebars. Oh, and of course this wouldn't be complete without that. Makes it go faster and stuff. Now with this one there is a bit of a difference. Instead of the bottom part of the clamps already assembled, you have to fit them onto the plate and then the top part of the clamps on top of that. So same like before, just go around, tighten them up. Don't tighten one all the way first and then do the other ones. Just go around making them tighter each time. Also be careful of the crate because you get little bits of metal on here and it hurts. Like I just did, stab myself. This thing here is a health and safety nightmare. Look at it, look. Evil, pure evil. Now tied onto the back of this is this little front mudguard bash plate thing. It doesn't go on the back, it actually goes on the front, so you have to unclamp it or unclip it and then whack it on the front. Next thing to do is to fit the shock. So it's just a bolt that goes through like the other one, but sideways instead of up and down. There you go, that's fitted. Then just a nut on the other side. And that is the rear suspension done. Now with the front, you've got two shocks here, and of course the wheels that aren't attached at the moment, but don't move them too far because they've got the brakes attached. So with this, obviously undo that. It'll be easier to clip it than undo it. Now I'm going to bring you in for a closer look because there's quite a bit under here to attach. So we're going to have to lift up the front and attach it all, so I'm going to bring you in for a closer look. So under here you've got, as I say, the shocks and the bars. So once you've fitted that, you then should fit the shock on the other side, and then we will go on to these.
Yeah, so obviously what we need to do, first of all, is attach this hub to these lower arms, and then we can attach these tie rods, the steering rods, to the hub itself, which will then allow you to steer.
Yeah, let's do that. So the next thing is to attach the hubs. So with a little jack, just stick it under there, and the hub goes in there like so, with the brakes going on the front. So without these rods being attached, you can still move the wheel side to side, you see, and you can see that bolt just goes straight through there. Really simple. And then that will attach to the top here, and that's the steering rack or the steering rod. Now, once they're attached, you may find that the steering is slightly out. It might be like that, it might be towing in, might be towing out, might not be quite straight. That's what this adjustment on this tie rod is for, just to track it back straight. It was at this point that Jamie noticed that I didn't quite look at it properly before I put it on, because this is actually stuck around the tie rod. It should go around the back of the tie rod, not in front. So here's a lesson for you: don't do that. And it's going to be easier to take the caliper off and put it round than undo this again. So let's get the caliper off. Sorry, my mistake. I only did it to show people what could go wrong when building one.
Of course.
Do you believe that? So the caliper's just 2 bolts over the top and then back on. There you go, and then screw back in. He says, like it was planned. Now, when I said before that this should go around the back, what I meant was it should go around the front, because obviously the caliper is on the front end there. But you know what I mean. I did it wrong. Just leave it at that. What Jamie is doing here is adjusting the tie rod so that they are both equal and it runs true and not towing in or out. So the last thing to do is to stick that front bash plate on and the seat, and then we can ride them. It almost looks cute coming down off the off the jack. So whilst he puts the bash plate on, I'm going to unwrap the seat, take its hairnet off. Now that just goes underneath there and on the back there. So with the seat pushed in and shoved down, that's now good to go. Oh, hang on a minute. Need that on the front. That will just go under there on that, like that. So just the last thing to do is to put the bar protector on. Now this comes unsliced, so you have to put a slice in it yourself. Stick it over the bar and then put the cover on your AC/DC machine. Again, the STOMP electric quad. And now it's time for Jamie to test ride them, because I am too heavy. Right then, Jamie, which one do you want to ride first?
Let's go for the bike wires at the front.
Okay, let's move this back then. Now please bear in mind, this is a 14 stone person on a child's bike. Now, ideally, the weight is around 80 kilos, I believe.
Yeah, something like that.
And you are just above 80 kilos. Yeah.
So just a bit of over, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, off you go. Now the top speed on the Stomp pit bike is 17 miles an hour. So let's bring out the quad. Now with this one, you've got forward, off and reverse. The key is down here and you've got your 3 LEDs on the bar there for how much power you've got left, and you've got your motor key at the back. Can you see down there? Motor key there, and it's the same as before. 0 is the fastest, and that is what we are interested in. So James,
Forward. Good to go.
go. So the quad itself seems faster than the bike. That is fantastic. Really do like that. I think I'm going to get one of these for Patrick. You all know Patrick. He's 4 years old and you've seen him on videos. This is awesome.
I mean, this one definitely carried my weight better.
Yes. Well, it's spread over 4 wheels, isn't it? Marvellous. So there you go. 2 options for you. Now, these are awesome and priced at just £399. Whether you want that one or this one, they're both the same price, and I think that's fantastic. Now, they do 5 miles an hour, then 10 miles an hour, I think, is the second one, and 17 miles an hour is the top end for both of them. Although this one seemed to carry the speed a bit better.
Yeah, just for the weight.
Yeah. Overall, they do say this is supposed to be for 12 and above, but I think 6.
Yeah, as long as I can get on it, really.
Yeah, as long as they can get on it, control it, it's just a twist control, brakes, and away you go. So you can got a horn on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's slow enough on the slow speed to you to walk beside them so they can get used to the throttle and brakes. And then
Exactly.
obviously you can add the speed from there on as their confidence grows. So.
Yeah. Fantastic. There you go. £399. Now, if you want someone to prepare it for you, it could take up to an hour's labour just to get it ready and prepare it so you can get it safe rather than build it yourself and not quite sure if you've got things tightened up. If you're savvy in that, then fine, £399 or £449 if you want it on the road, something like that. Not on the road, off the road. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know what you mean.
So that brings us to the end of this episode of Motors for the Masses. Thank you very much for joining us. Please come back next time when we'll be back with more bikes, more cars, etc., etc. And of course, Christmas. You'll have had that by now. So enjoy it. Merry Christmas. Say it.
Merry Christmas.
There you go.
Everyone.
Brilliant. So until next time, please ride and drive carefully. Don't forget to click the bell and like and subscribe and all that. And if you do want to support this channel, we've got our Patreon link in the description below. And of course, we've got our other one,
Yes.
the Facebook shop. Yes. So there you go. Until next time, please ride and drive carefully.
But have fun.
Bye.
Bye.